What's going on, people? In full effect. We know the moves that were made during the trade deadline. Now we getting into the specifics and seeing what's going to transpire when the boys from the Magic, let's just be honest, it was an all-out Magic Armageddon, head out onto their respective teams. Today, I'm going to key in on Denver, the Nuggets, the cannabis land. You know what it is. Let's talk about what's happened with Aaron Gordon, a.k.a. 50. What the hell he got going on over there with the Nuggets. I got a couple of negative comments in my last video. The reason why I talked about their means of being successful and who they would need to step up. My first comment was, Bo has to be a part of the scenario. I'm not talking about a big part of the scenario. I'm just saying 10, 12 minutes, whatever. He needs to be in the game more often. He's a game changer. And I am starting to see that the Nuggets are not only taking heed a little bit to that, but after the couple blowouts for, I would say, the teams that they faced that didn't have any of their star players playing, it is quite very revealing to me to see that this team could be the most deadly forward background court, forward specific, forwards and centers in the game. We knew about what they had last year with Jeremy Grant and Plumlee. Torrey Craig, everyone forgets about him as well. It was an amazing lineup. It was a team that had if they could gel and finally come together as one as far as being on point at the right time, I thought they had a means to maybe reach the championship. Are they back in that same boat now? I'm going to say they're one better. All right, let me tell you why they're one better. All right, the one guy no one seems to specifically key in on, even though they lost Torrey Craig, was the guy that was kind of injured. I know they lost Gary Harris. You know, that was a big loss. People forget about that. Harris got him into the next round. Let's stop sleeping. Let's stop talking, bro. He's gone. But Willie Barton is now healthy, 30 years old, in his prime. What damage can Will Barton do for this team? What is he going to be for this roster? That's the big question mark for me. And he's starting to prove himself through the season as being somebody that's reliable, all right? They could let Gary Harris go specifically because they could go with a bigger lineup. And that is the depth chart that I kind of see. Let's head to that and look at the depth chart. They got Jamal Murray at 6'3" at the point guard position. And then you add on Will Barton at a 6'5", 6'6" long at the shooting guard position. Mike Porter Jr. goes to the small forward. And then Aaron Gordon at the power forward with the center of Nikola Jokic. All right? Off the bench, going backwards in, you bring in JaVale McGee for the defense. You got Paul Millsap at the power forward position. I don't know if Dozier is truly a small forward. That could be the one scratching point. I'm not sure why we don't got Bo going in at that small forward position, just tangling things up. Believe me, I was an advocate of PJ Dozier. I love his game. Probably one of the few guys last year that said this guy should be playing more, and if given the opportunity, will shine. He's starting to shine now. However, Bo shines a little bit better, bro. I'm not going to front, man. The guy is a super bright star. That sun type shit, man. Seriously. Get the man some minutes. I see Michael Porter Jr. back up as somewhere where primarily he could help. They're trying to play him at a big man position. He's never been, folks. He's never really been a big man, man. Let's be honest. I know he's 7'30". I get it. But he's never been a big man. So you now can't necessarily rely on the boy to do his thing, all right? That's what I'm saying. There's no expecting on a pole. I mean, he could be that a little bit, but he's really a small forward, maybe a new age forward, all right? Now, keep working our way back in. Monty Morris has been injured, so Will Barton doesn't really have a backup, and to me, Dozier is the backup there at the guard position. That is the one side I kept talking about. Maybe need to add an addition to the guards. It's a little bit watery in my opinion. You know, you'll get teary-eyed if somebody get injured. There's Gerald Green that's out there. There's several players, several vets that could fill in. I thought they were going to let Ben McLemore go. from Houston, but that didn't happen. So, I mean, there's other guys that are out there that I would add on as insurance because you're one injury away from help and you don't have size at the guard position. And that's my one fear as we start to compare the teams, all right? We know about Campazzo. Hey, Argentina, don't cry for me, Argentina. Yeah, Campazzo's in there. You know the boy. You know, I love South America. That's my favorite spot. So you got to love Campazzo and what he's doing. He's truly the first real point guard they've had on this team. And I think that's an important opportunity for him to get going as a player, to continue to facilitate. But I think he's the only one because Jamal Murray, to me, is not a full-time guard, right? Point guard. He's really a guard, okay? So now, looking at the standings and what we see and what we got, they're one up because of Barton get more play, the growth of Porter Jr., the addition of Campazzo, and, yes, Bobo, 10 minutes a game. I said it. I'll say it again. Neg me if you want. I'm not saying start him. I'm saying give the man some freaking minutes. Let him disrupt some things, all right? When we look at the rankings here and we look at Denver, they're in the 5 slot. So I want to kind of peek in and understand how these guys play out against the next top 4 teams. We know about the LA Lakers. We know about the Clippers, Phoenix, and Utah. I'm going to go on a whim and get myself hated here. I don't think Utah and Phoenix are playoff graded. They remind me of the Supersonics, perform great for the regular season, but all these dudes truly built for the playoffs. That's the question mark you got to have for this team, those 2 teams. I know they got some vets. Chris Paul will go in the award books as being one of the top guys ever to play the game, but are they built for it? I'm going to go through their teams. Let's first go through Utah, all right? 1-for-1 comparison. We're going to go through the rosters real quick. I'm trying to make this 10 minutes, bro, because I know we ADD, all of us. Where do I see the Nuggets really losing some ground, all right? At the small forward position. This team's loaded with shooters. Are the guards, are the small forwards on the Nuggets going to be able to run out? Bogdanovich. Where's my other boy at? The other guy that looks like him. Joe Ingles, right? Joey Ingles is in there, right? You know, you got these stretch threes that are going to be deadly on the outside and may have people jumping. Inside, it's going to be tough for Jokic, right? He's going to have one of the toughest matchups he'll ever face in Mr. Who's that? Who that kid is? Yeah, El Francais. El Francais, the big 7'2", 7 foot. Gobert's only 7 foot? Nah, that's a lie. Anyway, the big Rudy Gobert. Okay? So he's going to be inside disrupting the balance of the teams. Derek Favors in there, 6'10", CBS. Get your heights right, man. Derek Favors is in there from a defensive perspective. They have a true guard in Connolly, and then they got a superstar. I think they even out Mitchell versus Murray. I like those two, so they even each other out. So other than that, there's a lot of options there for the Nuggets to get through. They got Porter Jr., you know. They got Barton that could get going. Remember, Barton was a dog in his previous life, so don't sleep on the kid. You know, they got a couple of dogs that can beat these guys out if hot. So I do like what I see here from the Nuggets defeating this team. I think they have just enough to get through, especially the McGee factor that brings them over the edge. All right, let's keep going. Next up, boys. Next up, my brothers. Who was the second team? It was Phoenix, right? Let's look at Phoenix real quick and let's get to business and look at that squad and see what they got. Again, I'm just going X factors. I'm not going 1 for 1 for 1 for 1. But point guard wise, yeah, Chris Paul's better than your boy. I'm sorry. I mean, it is. Let's go to depth chart. It is what it is. All right. Chris Paul is a more dynamic player, even at his age, than the point guard position of Jamal Murray. I'm not saying Jamal Murray as a guard. I'm talking about as a facilitator. All right. So they got that. Plus they got Payne. I think they win the point guard battle. Derek Booker, interesting run here, but Derek Booker versus versus Will Barton. Interesting. I cannot give Will Barton the edge in this one, all right? I'm sorry. I cannot give him the edge. I got to give it to Booker. I think he takes the cake. Plus, they got the old Torrey Craig in there. Then they got some more options off the bench. Let's go in there. Let's talk about Mr. Johnson, Mr. C. Johnson, the guy that's putting in work, all right? Next up, Miles Bridges. No, not Miles. Mikal Bridges. Okay? Mikal Bridges at the small forward position, and Nader, that's where they're gonna eat. All right, Porter Jr. Every small forward on Nuggets needs to eat with those two. Power forward position, I think they're eating as well. In the center position, maybe a wash. Much respect to my man, Mr. DeAndre Ayton. But I do think that the squad from the Nuggets may have the advantage because of the bench players that they can bring in. You can even throw Bo for a couple minutes at the center position. So much respect to that lineup. Now, as we look at it as a whole, and I just went one by one, you can kind of see why I say the Nuggets, they got these kids too, unless Booker completely goes off. But then, hey, Booker, Murray could completely go off. And I believe in my boy, Mike Porter Jr. He could completely go off. So to me, watch. Let's get out of here. And I got the Nuggets beating this squad. Now let's keep going, man. It's all in. It's Easter. And I got time. So next up, LA Clippers. The Clippers. Let's talk about the work, man. Work they gonna put in. Work. Patrick Beverly, defensive guy. Rondo. They bring in Rondo. From a facilitator perspective, they got your boys, man. They got to. How can they not? They got them, man. They got them from the point guard perspective. You got to respect that. It is what it is. You dig? So now, we go to the shooting guard position. I got to show respect for my man, Paul George. I got to say, Paul George probably overstands your boy, Mr. Jamal Murray. I'm sorry. I know he's never been fruitful in the playoffs. I know he's never came through, but I gotta show some respect for Mr. George. Terrence Mann is there. I get it. Reggie Jackson. They never use Luke Kennard. That's another, we're gonna go in another video on that. They don't use Luke Kennard. But for me, Paul George over that. Kawhi Leonard, they got that. Right? They got some muscle. They got Batum, Morris that can stretch the floor. They added Ibaka. They add Zubac, and they add Cousins. Cousins was before Jokic, man. Before Jokic was doing his thing, it was Cousins doing his thing, right? Tough position for the squad. The Clippers look deadly, all right? Last team up there, willing to get down and dirty and beat off the Denver Nuggets. I know they're not going to face each other in the playoffs. However, it's interesting. Actually, these two might play each other, right? You know, depending on how they're seeded. We look at the King James teams, man. We go into the Lakers, right? Schrader, Caruso. I gotta give Murray the edge. All right, I give him the edge, but I'm gonna tell you, your boy Schrader can go off. All right, straight up, no homo. Schrader could go off. I know people don't like him, but offensively, the dude was a dog on the Hawks. I remember him there. Defensively, but offensively, be careful. All right, Caldwell Pope, Matthews, giving the edge to Mr. Will Barton. I'm sorry. Kyle Kuzma, Tyler Tucker, that's where it gets shaky. What Kuzma are we going to get? The potential all-star Kuzma, or the Kuzma is just angry he's not getting the ball from LeBron James and the star status? I'm not sure. Next up, power forward positions. You got Mr. Morris, but where's your boy at? You know Anthony Davis will be back. You know LBJ will be back, right? So how do they play? Do they move Kuzma? Do they move James back into that starting lineup? Again, a lot of options here. Then they got Maurice Harrell. They got Drummond. They got Gasol. Denver, we got a problem. That's why I say that to those two teams, the two LA teams are the scariest, and the biggest X factor to those squads is Bobo. He's the guy that's going to make a difference. Kind of like, no offense, Montrezl Harrell will make a difference for the LA Lakers. I know you're saying Montrezl Harrell, Gasol will be a difference maker for the Lakers because they even out in so many lanes. So with that being said, it's great seeing the teams. It's great seeing the athleticism, but I'm worried about the two LA teams for Denver. It's going to be a freaking war. I didn't go further down. I know there's a lot of other teams that's coming up that could be deadly. Everyone knows about Portland. I didn't like that trade they made, but they're still a deadly team. Dallas is still trying to hang on. There's a couple squads there that could be scary, But for now, it is what it is. LA versus Denver. That's the scary end of it. We shall see what happens. I'm signing off. Mikey B, stepping back. Peace.